Tandy, wil jy nie vir my die participant screen laat share nie asseblief? Dankie. So I'm going to say a lot of the things that I said last week, because it's the structure of the mind is very interesting. It's not difficult, but it's so different from what we are used to know the mind to be. And there were two excellent questions that Dani asked at the end of last week. And the first one was, which part of the mind is the logical part, or something like that? And the other one, what about the quantum mind? So, and he really captured the essence of where we've got it wrong. And I'm going to tell you how I got to study the mind and got to what I believe today about the mind. But what we all know is that the mind should be in balance before it operates correctly. I've said it last week. We've got the thinking mind, and that is the conscious mind as well. That's the clever mind. If we can use this mind, I just want to put my phone on silent. Then people think we are intelligent if we can communicate. And that happens when the logical mind and the creative mind is in balance. The logical mind, of course, the part that can calculate, that can manage a language. And it's the part that can follow step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a sequential order. That's the logical mind. It's the part that needs rules in order to operate optimally. And it's also the part that we can associate with the AI, the artificial intelligence, because in artificial intelligence, you cannot teach a robot to be creative. You can only teach it to follow steps. And there are many operators and ways to teach it. One way is to compare things, to see which one is the biggest, which one is the smallest, to judge things, to decide this thing fits in here, or this is equal to this is not equal to this, and to compare things. And it can also calculate, but you can never teach a robot to be creative or to decide on which step to follow. It follows certain rules in order to decide to which step it will go. So many people think the logical mind is more preferable. Other people think the creative mind is better to have. The only thing there is that we need our mind to be in balance. Okay, and this is where my story with the mind started. I was sitting in a lecture in 1996, and the lecture was all about Satanism. Now, in a life force meeting, I can say that we all know now that it's satanic forces that control the earth. And that is the big battle between light and dark. And the guy who gave the lecture presented to us the satanic prayer. Did I give this to you last week? Yes, of the reason that rules the earth. The sentence in the satanic prayer. And I changed my life from there, and I decided that everything is ruled by logic. And it's where I started to steer my life away from it. I was privileged, and I could do it in many ways. But what we need to know is that we cannot stay away from logic, and we have to bring it in balance with the creative mind. And last week, when I said this, there was a lot of talk about I'm a left brainer, I'm a right brainer. But the truth is that our whole brain profile, logic and creative, is available to us when there are two conditions. These two conditions are, one, when we are relaxed, and two, when we have enough time. Now, the way of living took both away from us because reason had to rule the earth, and reason is ruling the earth at the moment. The thing about the reasoning mind is whenever you execute a thought by reasoning, there is a side product, and the side product is called stress. And it sounds illogical, but look at the people around us. Many people are sleeping with sleeping tablets. Many people use medication for depression, because if you have enough anxiety, you will become depressed. Many people use medication for stress and anxiety. So reason rules the earth, and we are stressed, and that's why we only have limited access to our brains, because we always go back to our dominant parts when we are stressed and when we don't have enough time. And the other thing is everybody became so very busy, so people do not have time. Okay, so and what I also want to say, Dani, the logical mind is only useful when whatever we need to think about has one variable. So when we say 1 plus A equals 4, we know A equals 3, and that is a logical reasoning. But still, even while we do such a simple reasoning, it creates a form of stress. And if we keep on thinking so logically every day, we add a lot of stress to our lives. Okay. So when I did when I did my master's degree, after that lecture, a year or two, I discovered a psychology school, and it was a very small school. And interesting, even that time, I sensed that this school is not going to last very long. Although I was so taken up by the theory of this school, and it was them who actually said, Psychology of Mind. There's an excellent book, but it's more like a textbook, Psychology of Mind by George Pransky. But Richard Carlson also wrote a book. He wrote a few, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, and also Stop Thinking and Start Living. Who of you know those books?
I know the first one.
Okay, yeah, and it's really excellent books. And this is exactly the theory from that school that they wrote about, and where I base my theory on about the mind and how the mind works. So, but they only talked about the conscious mind, the logical mind and the creative mind, and how important it is to us to use our creative mind in order to get to the quantum mind. And they talked about put the stuff in the back burner. And the back burner is really the unconscious mind where we will get to. So my invitation to you, when we want to balance the thinking mind, is really to be creative. Find a hobby. I always tell my husband, find yourself a hobby inside the house and outside the house, and find creative hobbies. Because when we are busy in our work area where we do our jobs, it's mainly logical reasoning that we are busy with. And that is where not only the mental illnesses come from, but also the physical illnesses. Okay. Okay, I'm going to move on. Okay. So if we do not use the creative mind, there is always the feeling mind. It's the subconscious mind. It's the part I spoke about it last week. It's the part where we have our social habits, we have our emotions, and we also have our memories. Okay. And if we do not acknowledge our feeling mind, it's the second balance that goes out of balance. And we feel, for those of you who read Louise Hay's work, we feel we are not centered. But when we connect to our hearts, we do feel centered. Okay? And people who only acknowledge logical reasoning, they will even tell you, I don't have emotions. Now, that's the best way to get that whole system of balance. Once we acknowledge our emotions, we are also balancing our minds. We have more healthy minds as well as more healthy bodies. There was a study done in one of the universities where they got the students who often visited the doctors on campus because they felt they have had a kind of an illness, and they divided them in two groups. And the one group they told to just every day write down your emotion that you feel. And the group that did that not only felt psychological better, but they also didn't visit the doctors anymore because they were physically better. They had fewer illnesses. So it's really so important for us to express our feelings. Expression is healing. So my invitation to you to find the balance in this between the thinking mind and the feeling mind is breathing, as we did last week. Meditation, breathing is in any case a meditation, and also to acknowledge emotions. And especially when you write them down, something happens in the brain and connects more parts of the brain when we write it down than just thinking, today I feel good, I feel depressed, etc., etc. We have to acknowledge our emotions. And then as our emotions become more healthy, we move maybe from anger to neutrality, or to love, or to forgiveness. We start feeling better inside the body because the negative emotions are energetically taxing to the body, while good emotions actually gives energy provides energy to the body for healing and just for maintenance. So I don't know who of you read the book Power versus Force from David Hawkins. That's an excellent book if you want to understand emotions and the role it plays in our bodies. Okay, so that is the centeredness. But when we to get to the quantum mind, we have to add the being mind, and that's actually the body mind. It's the manifesting mind. It's the superconscious mind. And when we have this good balance, we actually have spiritual intelligence. And there's a book the book's name is Spiritual Intelligence. Can't remember the author now, but the name of the book is Spiritual Intelligence. And spiritual intelligence comes about when we actually have our thinking mind in balance. We have balance between the thinking mind and the feeling mind, the heart, the emotions, and the body. And this is the part that so many people do not acknowledge. And even if they do so, because I'm sure you will recognize it, as I say, it's not often put into words, and that is to connect the inside of the body, how the body feels on the inside, to the conscious mind. Now, I want you, let's see if we can connect. It's so easy to connect because we are very busy and we are stressed, there's a separation between the thinking mind and the body mind, and it causes a lot of troubles. So if you just close your eyes, take a nice and deep breath. And as you exhale, let go of anything you do not need. And you can take a second breath and just inhale and breathe out all the stress that you don't need right now. We know some stress is healthy, but we also know that we are used to much, much more stress than what is good for us. Now I want you to move inside your body and move your attention to the trunk of your body. You've got the abdomen and you've got the chest area. And just become aware of any one of the two. And tell yourself what color is the abdomen part and what color is the chest part. Go into the abdomen, into that color. And just become aware of any motion in that energy, in that color. Is there a movement or is it stationary? Is it easy to move within that color? Or is it difficult? Now go up to your chest area and be in that part of the body. What color and what shape is there? Is it easy to move there? Are there any sounds that you are aware of? Take another deep breath and you can just open your eyes. So the reason why it is so difficult to connect to the quantum mind is because we are not aware of the inside of our bodies. And the more we become aware of it, the stronger our quantum mind will be and the more control we will have over our emotions. Because if we live with the awareness of the inside of the bodies, it's the first place where we will pick up when we go into a negative emotion such as anger or feeling depressed or being anxious. And we will immediately conscious level decide, no, this is not a nice way to feel in my body, and we will change it to a more positive emotion, but it will come from the body mind. And it is so powerful. And in that way, when we change the feeling in the body mind, we have a much more lasting effect when we do therapy than to just do cognitive work. And what we also know that the forces that want to control the planet moved into the education systems, and they moved into all the schools in on university, technical college, all those levels. And that is why the psychology of mind didn't last, because it obstructed the way of telling people to be logic. And today, whenever you do therapy, the psychiatrists and the medical aides and everybody will force you to do cognitive behavioral psychology or therapy. And cognition, what they have in mind is logical reasoning. There's no logical reasoning that will take away depression. Logical reasoning will, in actual fact, make anxiousness worse because it is a side product of logical reasoning. So that shows you how they took over all the schools on all levels and in all departments. So my invitation to you is really, well, I cannot say live inside your body because I understand how difficult that is. That is what my whole 7-week online course is about. And it's not easy to teach people how to live inside their bodies. But there's one thing that we can do from day to day, like writing down the emotion. One thing that we can do to open up that connection between the thinking mind and the body mind. And that is to first of all, just realize what in life makes us joyful. Because you can never experience joy without experiencing it in your body. Think about it. Think about something you enjoy. And then just take your attention to your body and see how it changes. And think about something you really hate doing and see what changes in your body. Tandi, what do you experience?
When I think about something that I really enjoy, my face can't stop smiling. I just feel the smile literally creep up my side of my mouth.
Yes.
I just literally feel the muscles moving involuntarily.
Yes.
And I feel like butterflies in my stomach.
Right. And
Yeah.
when you think about something you really hate doing, it's a harsh word, sorry, what happens in your stomach?
I actually get like a stomach ache and I can feel the anxiety, and it's like it actually moves up my spine and up my head.
Yes.
And then my head becomes all fuzzy and cloudy.
Yeah, it's not nice. And when we are not connected to our bodies, then we feel that kind of feeling in our bodies. We jump up to the reasoning mind. It's something that happens. And we start feeling worse and worse and worse. Okay. Anybody else wants to share their experience with this thing that you like and thing you don't like? Yvonne? Yvonne isn't there. Where's Donnie?
Marlene is unmuted.
Yes,
Marlene?
I've unmuted. I'm just trying to find all these buttons to do these things.
Okay.
I found that, yes, like you say, we need to connect with that feeling, and it's the feelings as well that is part of the healing. And I always say we have never, as children or as adults or whenever we've gone through an emotion, we haven't finished the emotion. So what we've taken it is like something's upset us. We haven't finished that emotion, played it out, cried it out or whatever. We've actually taken like a stick and we've stuck it down into the system to hide it. And that emotion is going to come up through people as you meet people. People are going to be your trigger to set off that emotion in you that you stuffed down 20 years ago or 5 years ago. And that is when you need to do the healing, is then to finish the feeling, finish that emotion. Because if you finish that emotion, you are now over it and you can move on. It's not going to be a block for you anymore.
That's right. And when we associate any emotion with the feeling inside the body, we will see that the emotions disperse and that we move into the more positive emotions. But also, why do these people cross our paths? It's because the body is the broadcasting part of the mind. And if the emotion in the body is sadness, it will broadcast to the world, please bring on sadness. If it is joy, it will tell the world, please bring on joy. So my invitation to you is to understand what you really enjoy and to acknowledge it to yourself, what you enjoy. And every day you have to do something consciously and joyfully. And that will connect the thinking mind to the body mind. And what you create with your quantum mind will be joyful. So that is my way of explaining. Any other questions from anybody? Donnie?
Maybe I can say something. You know, last time I asked a question and I said, I can't see this this visualization. And now with this, what you just told us, I now get the grasp of it, because if you can't express your emotion, you're kind of stuck. And also, if you have the emotion, that is the frequency that you're going to tune in. You know, it's not necessarily what your mind say, it's what your emotions say. That's how I perceive this. And now for the first time, I get the grasp of the quantum mind, because that was the whole thing lacking for me, that the whole emphasis on today's thinking is, and especially we have to gear ourselves so that we can lead the young people of today out of this trap that society set for them via all their mechanisms. So for me to be able to create this new tooling for the youngsters, I need to understand it. I first have to understand. I first have to experience it, and then I can really tell it to other people. Sometimes by chance I get things right, but later on if I try to get it, doesn't work. So yes, so
Sorry, Donnie, yes, that is because we all have the inner knowledge, but we need
Yes.
to connect to the body to get to it. Sorry, I
Yes.
interrupted you.
No, 100%. I also don't want to take over the conversation, but it makes me very, very excited. This few last keys that you put on the table about, and also what Sam said about finish your emotion. That is a very, very, very strong. This is a very strong. It's a very strong thing to work on, because finishing your emotion, yeah, you must put your mind to the matter and see to it that you're not disturbed. And like in my world, yes, like I start one thing now, then I get interrupted, and then I get interrupted. Then tonight when I close my books, the first thing that I started is still on my table. So, and by interrupting me, it's full of emotions, because sometimes I'm not very proud of how I react. But it's part of life. They love me for that, so it's all right. So yes, we have to, and that thanks for the quantum explanation, because now for the first time I get the grasp of the feeling slash the emotion part, and how to more get in touch and put more energy into it.
Yes, thank you for that. And you know, the previous visualization, did we only use the visual part? I can't remember.
Yeah, kind of.
But today I brought in colors, shapes. How does it feel to move in it? The more senses we use, the more we get into the energy and into the vibration. And if we are willing to go into the vibration of our negative emotions, we will see that that will change, and it will open up the emotion, and it will bring about a positive one. We just need the courage to go there. Yeah, thanks. Anybody else? Okay, so I'm going to close with this. Within us is always space for deeper understanding, and that space we find in our bodies. And that is the third thing that you can do to connect the or to improve the quantum mind, is stretching out the body. Within us is always an opportunity to reevaluate. It's never the last time that you have an opportunity. That's a reasoning false saying. Within us is always a space of deeper self-compassion. Within us is always a higher knowing. Within us is always a space of deeper connection. Within us is always an infinite peace for us to feel whole and home. Remember this truth always. Sorry, I don't even know where I got this. I just knew it fitted into the quantum mind. And the other thing that Kim told us is that the forces on earth wanted us to feel bad and guilty about ourselves and shameful. And as we go into the body, we will reevaluate and develop a self-compassion. And the self-compassion is what we need to get through this crisis. Okay, so my last invitation is you to embrace yourself, acknowledge yourself, and to really appreciate who you are, and to know that you are such a special part of life on earth. And we are so absolute privileged to be here. The other day, somebody said that if you take all the hairs on a cow's body, take one hair and out of all the hairs. And that was the chance of us to have the privilege to live through this time on earth. So feel special. Know that you are valuable. And I thank you. Dankie, Tandi.
Dankie, Elsie. Bye, dankie. Thank you, everybody, for coming. If anybody has got any other topics you would like to discuss, or anybody you would like to host a meeting for us so we can learn new understanding and actually grow more as people, please let's do that. Get in contact with me and we can set it up. Thank you, Elsie. Everybody have a beautiful week. Next meeting will be announced early next week. Okay. Take care. Bye.
Take
Ja,
care.
Elsie, baie dankie hoor.
Thanks, Elsie. Thanks, Tandi.
Good to see you.
Thanks,
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye, everyone.